I mentioned that we'd have a guest from Garmin in the studio. You want to follow along, you go to Garmin.com, Garmin, Garmin.com. Elliot's in the studio. We're going to talk about the marathon that is coming to Toledo, the Garmin Marathon in September. This is the first one that they've ever done. This is the inaugural marathon. They're only doing two this year, one here and one in Tucson. 10 minutes after the hour already. If you want to get a hold of me, 419-214-1370. Fred at WSPD.com. Talkback feature on iHeartRadio. Tap that little microphone. You'll see the countdown on your phone screen. 3, 2, and you'll have 30 seconds to leave me a message. Elliot, thanks a lot for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, we heard in talking off air, you didn't hear this yet, Elliot really has no power. Because normally when I have a guest and I say, well, what's your position with the company? So I know who I'm talking to. You know, if you're a high muckety muck. He's not. He describes himself as a Garmin representative. So how'd you get chosen for this job?
You know, I drew the short straw. So.
Is that what it is? They picked you because you're a runner, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is an area where I have a lot of passion and a lot of experience. So this is a really exciting project for Garmin.
How old a guy are you?
I'm 34.
Get out of here. I was going to guess 20s. I was going to guess like 25, 26 or something like that. Because I want to know how many marathons have you run?
8 to 10, I'd say.
When did you start? When did you start running?
My late 20s. I needed something, to break me out of the grind, so to speak. And I think I always tell people, run for your mental health, not just for your physical health.
Oh, that's a good idea. And I know a lot of runners in town. One of them was running marathons well into his 80s. And that's exactly why he did it. But, of course, he also did 1,300 sit-ups every freaking morning. So I don't think you're ready for that yet. But
no, I don't think so either.
So were you running marathons before you started to work for Garmin, or did this come afterwards?
Yeah, but it was definitely one of the reasons I came to work for Garmin. It's a company that really promotes, living an active and healthy lifestyle, and we empower people to do that through our product portfolio.
Well, and that's the thing. I didn't know much about Garmin. I always thought of them as a radar thing, and that was it. And then I'm looking under smartwatches and sports and fitness and outdoor recreation. These are all the drop-down menus when you go to the website. You've got stuff for bikes, outdoor maps, golf course locators, multi-sport things for triathletes, swimming, diving, golf, health and fitness, all this stuff. They didn't start out like that, right?
No. Over 2 decades ago, we created the first running smartwatch.
Okay.
And that was the Forerunner, which, from here we've seen several iterations, and that's used by people all across the world to train for races. And Garmin, is a technology leader, not just in running and lifestyle and fitness, but we have some of the best marine products, some of the best aviation products. So really, we've seen, success across many different industries.
So the watch, for instance, let's talk about the watch. I've got a smartphone and I can track, like if I do a lap on my bike and it'll map my route and stuff. Is that what the Garmin watches do? Do they track your laps and your speed and your route and all of those things?
That and so much more.
Really?
Yeah. I think the basic activity tracking, is important and it's great. And Garmin has incredible GPS technology to make sure that it's precise. But really where we're seeing a lot of interest is in the health tracking. The sleep tracking, stress tracking, HRV, heart rate variability is becoming more and more an indicator of how well your training is going.
All right.
And yeah.
All right. So there's a lot, and you can get all this information, like I say, if you go to Garmin.com, and then the drop-down menus include smartwatches and sports and outdoor recreation and automotive and all kinds of stuff. But when you get to the marathon, now this is going to be the first. And why did they decide to do this? Why did they decide to get into the marathon business, for lack of a better word?
This has been an idea that,
Was it your idea?
I can't.
Come on, Elliot.
I wish I could take credit, but I think the executive team, really is responsible for. And, it started with this idea, how do we celebrate runners? That's a really important group for Garmin. like I said, Forerunner, Phoenix users, we have these across the world.
Okay.
And so it was, how do we, celebrate them in a way that feels authentic and meaningful, but also lets us tell our story in a way we never have before. Right. And you can't do that with the traditional sponsorship. Lots of companies.
You can't buy TV ads to show all of that. You have to have the people actually doing the activity, which is kind of cool. So this will be the first one. Now at this point, when you go online, you can actually register already. In fact, I would encourage you, if you're going to do the marathon or the 10K or the 5K or any of the possibilities, to get registered now because there are registration rates, and you'll pay more if you wait longer. So there'd be a marathon and a half marathon, right? 10K and a 5K.
Yep.
All right. And just as a sidebar, I own the record for the longest 5K in Toledo history, because someone, the 80-year-old guy who did marathons, talked me into doing a 5K one year for the Glass City Marathon. And I did the 5K, but I didn't know that you were supposed to go into the football stadium at the end of the 5K and go into the arch, because I thought that's for the marathoners, because they're saying, "Oh, here comes Bob Survey with a time of," and I thought, well, that's not for me. I never finished. So my 5K lasted over a year.
So you're saying you're going to come back and do our 5K?
Yeah, but it's going to take me less time. I'll actually finish it that day. So if you register now before May 8th, it's one price. From May 8th till August 28th, it's a different price. From the 29th through September 14th, it's a little bit higher, okay? It keeps going up. If you register on site, all right, it's going to be even more. So is it smarter for them to register early so that we kind of have an idea of how many people are going to be involved in this too? Is it helpful to Garmin?
For sure, but also because we might sell out of these race distances. This is not.
Oh, you have a drop dead number for each one.
I mean, we can play with the numbers a little bit, but the emphasis, especially for this first race, is to create a really high quality experience.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so, I mean, registering in advance is, it's going to save you money. Mm-hmm. It's going to make sure you get a spot, and it's just going to allow you to plan your training better.
All right. And this will be a Boston Marathon qualifier, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the marathon has a special certification that ensures that it is the correct distance.
Okay.
And that people who hit a certain time will be able to qualify for Boston.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about that and just some other odds and ends in just a minute. If you have a question or anything, go ahead and hit me up with an email. We'll get it answered for you. Elliot will be here for the next segment also. Dude, you got any Rage Against the Machine? I'm like, yeah, dude. And so we were duding it up here. Elliot, of course, is the representative from Garmin, and the Garmin Marathon is coming to Toledo in September. And it will actually be a race that you can qualify for the Boston Marathon. I was talking off air with Elliot about how that happens. And you were explaining you can't go too far and you can't be too short. Otherwise, it screws up the times, and you're not a qualified race. Is that how that works?
Exactly. So if you're too short, you can't qualify at all.
Okay.
It has to be at least that 26.2 miles.
26.2. Okay.
And then if your course is long, that takes people extra time, right? And so then you get people who, if the course would have been more precise, maybe would have qualified. And so,
okay.
You really have to have it be as accurate as possible.
So, and you're actually not qualifying for this year's race because there's a waiting list for the Boston Marathon. So your time is actually qualifying you for whenever they can call you and say, hey, you're in this year's race, right?
Right. And I mean, Boston is so competitive that even when they publish their cutoff times, they have so many people that qualify. They actually have to say, okay, it's the qualifying time minus 2 minutes, minus 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it really is a competitive, thing to get into.
Now, according to the website, and I want you to go to Garmin.com for any of this information, Garmin, Garmin.com for the Marathon Series. You'll see that according to it right now, we're going to be going through the zoo, past the aquarium, Maumee Bay Brewing, we all know where that is, and the Glass City Metro Park. Has the course been set in stone yet, or do you still need to like run it or drive it, or how do you do that?
So we have a good idea of what the course is going to be, and that's why we've been able to identify some of these features.
Okay.
But it is not 100% final yet. And so once it is, it'll be posted to the website, and people can see exactly every turn, the elevation change, which, spoiler alert, it's going to be a fast and flat course.
Yeah, we're pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty flat. When I do Bike to the Bay every year, that's the only hills that we ever really see are when you're going over the expressway or the turnpike or something. Everything else is pretty flat. We're pretty flat. So do you run it? Because you're a runner. Do you actually run it, or do you drive it in your car to get the mileage?
So you can do both.
Okay.
I mean, I think for a preliminary route, you drive it just because you're looking at a lot of different options. But then at some point, yeah, someone will definitely run it.
Now, when you're doing it in your car, are you watching for like intersections that you would be crossing or business areas that you think might be busy on that day and things like that?
Yeah. So much goes into the logistics and the operations of creating the course. And that's why, we're really lucky to have such strong partners with Mayor Wade, Commissioner Gherkin, Destination Toledo. Like, we have a lot of really great Toledo entities that are supporting us. And that helps us better understand, the city and where, okay, maybe that intersection is not a great option.
Yeah.
Right. For a variety of reasons. And so that's where, our Toledo partners and like Run Toledo is another big one, right?
Oh, yeah.
They know this area. They know where we can build a really great course. And
Absolutely.
so it's relying on that local expertise. And that's super important.
All right. Now I have a good idea for you. Just came to me. Okay. Since you're a runner and since Garmin has all these fancy watches and things that you need to get your butt back here and you need to run that course while you're filming yourself, looking at your Garmin watch and watching your lap time and everything. And then that becomes the promo commercial for the marathon. Okay? Write that down.
Yeah. Hey.
He's not writing it. He's going to forget it the minute he walks out the door.
I'll remember. I promise.
So give us the details, all right? Just in general terms, the Garmin race is coming in September. Give us the rundown on it so people can keep track of everything that's going to be happening.
Sure. So the Garmin Marathon series is kicking off its inaugural event in Toledo, Ohio. Sunday, September 21st, it has 4 distances, a 5K, a 10K, a half, and a full marathon. Registration's currently open. You can do that at garmin.com/marathons. And it's going to be an incredible event. This is a celebration of runners. We're planning a lot of really cool activations at the expo along the course, and then the Finish Line Festival, throwing a really great party for all of these participants, their family, their friends, so that it's, a memorable experience. And they walk away saying, 1, Toledo, Ohio, what an incredible place. And 2, that was really fun. I can't wait to do it again next year.
Now, do we know where the finish line is yet?
Yeah, so it's not far from the Glass City Convention Center.
Oh, okay. Oh, just down the street here.
Yeah.
All right, just down the street from us. Excellent. And so there'll be a big part. Well, actually, it might even be at the end of the street. The end of the street is known as Hensville. There's a big outdoor section there with a stage and a grassy area for a concert and all of that kind of stuff. And it is actually right across the street from the convention center.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's what. Oh, that means you guys will be running right past my door.
Well, you'll be running with us.
Yeah, okay. Elliot's never seen me run. Elliot, you're funny. I'm 74. I ain't running anywhere.
Last summer, I attempted a 50-mile race in July, pulled out around mile 31. A 76-year-old woman finished the 100-miler. It took her 35 hours.
Doesn't that make you feel just awful? I hate that.
I mean, it was humbling for sure.
Yeah.
She wanted it a lot more than I did.
I was doing the Bike to the Bay one year, and there's just before you get to the finish line, there's a big hill coming off the expressway. And I thought I was going to be the last one in. And I don't ever want to be last. And the only person in front of me was some guy with one of those little baby carriers on the back of his bike. Only there wasn't a baby in it. There was a black Labrador retriever. So you're looking at 120 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I can just get past this SOB so that he's last, I'll be fine. and you don't want to know the rest of the story. Elliot, thanks a lot for coming in. If you need details, you go to Garmin.com, Garmin, the Garmin Marathon Series. This is their inaugural event in Toledo. Tucson is second, as well it should be.